T. Obviously, maybe something to do with the fact that if you can move your stuff around, you're going to have gigs in Miami and stuff like that. How did you get there? How did you know you had to get there? What happened?
Yeah, I think our model works quite differently to a lot of other installations at festivals, and I think it started from my kind of earlier career. I used to run big tensile structures, which are the big tents that used to tour around the festivals, and I did that from a kid, from being young, and learnt about how you have massive things and you take them down in one place and you move them to another place and you put them up and you reuse them like that. And that was something that we applied to the sculptures that we built that became the stages and installations that we now move around. So as part of the design process of working with the scrap, everything was also designed to break down and be able to be taken apart, put back together, put on trucks or put in shipping containers, and all that kind of means of being able to use something more than once. So when you take it down, it isn't just a pile of plywood in the corner of a field. You take it down with care, and then you do it in such a way that you can put it up again. So the structures have become kind of like a staple that you can move from one place to another. And then we've worked on changing the music, the shows that happen on it, the lighting, all of the different other elements that you would source locally. So you can keep, almost a bit like a chameleon, you can keep something evolving and changing whilst using the same structure. So rather than just remaking something each time, you actually reuse it, and we tweak it. We still cut bits off the spider and weld new bits on it when we feel like it, but as a concept it means that thing is getting used a lot more and it's a lot more efficient in that sense.
Yeah, that's a great model. Andrea, you're an artist.
You keep telling me. Okay, I'm an artist.
Everyone, Andrea's an artist. And the great thing about art, as opposed to, you're making like micro venues and installations within your art.
According to you, yeah.
I'm just reading what's written here. But that's a great thing, because that means you want to move that around and get it seen by a lot of people. Is that a challenge for you to reuse your? Say you're going to do that thing with the blind people, you want to use that somewhere else?
Yeah, I think. First of all, I do think I am more of an applied artist in that I see myself as creating live experiences, that kind of thing, and that the things I create kind of straddle the world between art and theatre design. So I'm quite small scale. So my remits are to do with like how can I get this big idea kind of in a movable form that isn't a huge operation actually, that could bundle down to something quite small, or could be a middle scale thing that could tour. So I like, in the sense I'm an artist, in the sense that I'm quite hands on. I quite like to kind of get in there and do a lot of what I do on the set and stuff. So it's so integrated in how I would think about doing a design that I don't really have I can't kind of make it be something separate. So I don't know if I can add more into what I've already said, because I think it's a commitment I've made, which I won't go back on, and it's a process that I'm engaged in that I won't go back on, and it's a whole journey. And like I said, I can see something, like I've got some designs I've done years ago that I'm doing now, and some things that I'm using now that will be in the future. So I feel like I'm part of some web, I suppose. So
you're going to draw your inspiration from what's at that place?
Yeah,
location style.
But the nature of this whole... basically, to cut a very long story short, we're fiddling whilst Rome is burning, basically, and we cannot... We need to use our imaginations in different ways. We're in this time of bewilderment, which isn't something I've said, it's something called Charles Eisenstein has said, we're in the fertile ground of bewilderment. There aren't answers, structures are falling apart, political systems are falling apart, the Brexit thing, an unthinkable thing has occurred. In a way, we've all got to kind of join together now. It doesn't matter what end of the scale you are, what you do, share ideas, come to the table, really sort of like go, what are we going to do as a group? How can maybe more dialogues happen between, say, the materials that might be chucked out by a big scale production for a small scale production. I happen to know that I went to St. Tina Sarge, had a conversation with a guy there who's called Jem, who said, I stood there whilst 10 custom-made costumes were thrown in a skip, and I scrabbled in this skip to get them out. I won't say who the company is, I don't want to embarrass them, but point being that I looked at these costumes, and they are impeccably made costumes that were thrown in a skip. Now, that cannot happen anymore. It just simply cannot happen, and we've got to wake up to it, and that's all I can say.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Here, aren't we?
Well, I'd say one of the biggest impediments to people in London anyway is space. It's like you just have nowhere to put this stuff in this town, which makes it a little bit difficult. But outside of this town, there's loads of people. What, how many? Right, okay, bloody hell, why? We think time has flown by. Time's flown by. So we've got some stuff to look at, right?
Well, I might cut straight to
Tim, we got any?
Shangri-La bit.
Right, okay, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to show, I had some other stuff, but I'm just going to cut straight to the Shangri-La bit because I just thought it was relevant. The theme this year of Shangri-La is about making people, while they're having their crazy nihilistic rave moment, making them think about the issues of use and misuse of materials. Oh, I can't work out to...
Misuse of festivals there, Rob.
If you click on the image on the computer, then when you scroll, it should work.
Yes. So I'll just scroll through these really, and we can look. So this is the creative brief that goes out to artists for Shangri-La. It's just going out now. It's not something that's for public consumption, but I thought it was interesting in the theme of what we were talking about. So I'll just scroll through it if everyone's happy with that. So we're looking at creating a series of towers using, basically for years we've bought sheet timber material and turned it into flat-edge and put it up around scaffold structures for like the last 7 or 8 years. We're now, having used the timber we bought on the first year, over and over again, and it's reduced in its kind of status in the space down to being flooring, and then last year annihilated quite a lot of that. And then, so we end up with these mountains of waste, and so we've decided we're not buying any more timber. That's just it. We're not going to. So we're going to build a lot of the cladding for the scaffold structures, which are still at the heart of much of what we build. We're going to create cages of waste and then light and turn that into these towers with venues at the top. It's going to be a challenge to do that in a way that doesn't feel obvious. It's going to be a challenge to make it beautiful because it's quite grotesque, but it's also important that it's beautiful. We don't want people to just walk in and go, it doesn't need to look exactly as it did when they left last year, although it does need to have quite a significant reference to that because that's the realism. So I'll just keep going through in the name of not boring everybody in. Yeah, so we've got a wicked new double stack container arena. We're cutting some old containers that comes at the end of their life open and double stacking them and turning them into a mezzanine. We've got some old train carriages and we're going to rave them. And I'll just keep going through. I just thought it was interesting in the ilk of this debate about...
Yeah. So in Shangri-La, we're really trying to get the message over... beyond just the Greenpeace fields, we just want to say really it's about recycling, but it's also about the truth as well, strangely enough, which has become rubbish. So it's all about the recycled truth there, and we've got a venue called Right Bart with good fake news in it, and we've got a 15 metre high tower with a walk-in snow globe in it with crisp packets blowing around. You can get your picture taken in it. We're trying to do whatever we can to be a bit different, frankly. That's always the way.
No, but the point is, right, there's a fine line because in one sense, what we're doing in Shangri-La is introducing young, interesting, switched-on people who are probably in a good position relatively in the world to make a change. We're introducing them to some ideas, but we're also creating an environment where they can all get off their heads and be totally nihilistic and just, so we've accidentally, over the years, it's evolved into this place where these people who probably aren't really, exactly the right people, they're us 20 years ago. However, they feel like when they're walking into these festivals often, especially Glastonbury and to a lesser extent Boomtown, that they're buying the right to be totally reckless, and that's why they're chucking all their crap on the floor, because they feel like they're slightly oppressed outside, and so they're walking into spaces where the rules are different. And like, so it's easy for that to get confused by those young people as a space where they can just take buckloads of drugs or be really despondent or chuck all their stuff away, and so it's without wanting to be preachy and put up a sign saying you should behave better. We need to create a space where they can let go, but where actually we're also making them a bit uncomfortable about the reality of what they feel is a release. And so that's what Shangri-La's actually is about, and that's why we constantly have to change, because it's a changing environment and the messages don't work if you just do them again the next year, and there's so many issues we can't stop thinking about new ones.
Thanks, Robbie. We're running out of time, aren't we? Bertie.
We can show the next slides, but do you remember how to go back onto the
Yes.
Excellent.
What we got here, Bay?
How long have we got?
Another 5, 10, 5, 6 minutes. So,
I've got to skip through these now. Sorry. Which slide? That's you, is it?
and then the next one will be video.
The film, I think. Yeah. If you can find a film.
Go across. Pictures. Keep going. It's the third one.
This is just a short film of the collaboration that we did with the Whadjuk Noongar people in Perth. And we want to try and expand this collaboration with different cultures, and also try and salvage and find different materials where we go and turn them into work that we're going to do, that we're going to move around. So if we can play it, it's just a short film about that.
My name is Jordan. I am 12 years old, and I am a Whadjuk Noongar. My ancestors have sung this song for centuries, and it has kept them strong as one. We will sing this song for all of us here today, to keep us safe and strong, like it has done for my ancestors in the past.
Wanarega malana, boyongora waningo, wanarega malana, boyongora waningo. Wanarega malana, boyongora waningo, wanarega malana, boyongora waningo. Wanarega malana, boyongora waningo, 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 wanarega malana, boyongora waningo.
This is our story. As we gather here, and may our ancestors' energy be with all of us tonight. out the spider spirit. The spider spirit. May it make us one.
Arcadia. We've definitely got to move towards an end. Any questions for anybody on the panel? Quickly. No questions to ask these guys?
I have a question. How are you going to beat that in Miami? It's going to be a tough one.
We won't. No, it's a different scene there. But what was so amazing about that was that the connection we had to those guys was incredible, and I think there's so much we can learn from those ancient people that we've lost today, and it felt like it was kind of like the missing piece of the puzzle for us. You know, we've been doing big tribal collective joy gatherings for ages, but to add their magic into it really brought about something really different, and I think for all the people that were there, it was really incredible. And we're looking at doing similar collaborations with people that have been around for longer than us, on land that has been there for longer than us, and seeing what we can learn from it.
I can see you in Machu Picchu next.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, I hope you guys have learnt something from this panel. I certainly have. The wonderful thing about Spectacle, the one thing about probably what everyone does in this room and everyone on this panel does, is we're not like Facebook or Twitter. We're actually touching people here, and we can get messages over at festivals, which I think the last panel stuck on as well. We really can get messages over at festivals around saving the planet and fighting liars, and I just so hope we all do, because I know a lot of festivals are really scared of making any noise, but we're not. And personally, if I'm at a festival, which I am every summer, all summer, I am definitely saying shit, and I hope everybody else does. Thank you very much. Wonderful panel.